You're not saying you think Republicans are gonna stop it?
I don't think Donald Trump wants another election. You think for a second I have 24 Trump 2028 hats. His folks keep sending me.
Gavin Newsom 2028 presidential campaign. He's grandstanding and making a clown of himself because he wants national attention. He tried the moderate thing for a month and realized it wasn't raising him any funds.
Imagine this. Gavin Newsom, California's self-styled golden boy with hair slicker than a luxury shampoo ad, just got blindsided by Lindy Lee, and wow, it was brutal. What started like a political roast quickly turned into a full public takedown, with receipts flying faster than his approval numbers falling. This wasn't a casual clapback. It was a career-shaking moment that had people wondering if his hairstylist also handles emergency damage control. Buckle up, because Lindy didn't just call him out. She ripped straight through that polished image and left him scrambling for the delete button.
Trump crusader, because he realizes that it helps him with his coffers and his fundraising. So that's why he's on a tear, and he's a complete hypocrite. And I just saw that California now leads the nation in homelessness and unemployment. Maybe he should focus on that.
This is a guy who retweeted himself on Mount Rushmore. This is a guy who retweeted himself, dare I say, as Pope.
Yeah.
This is a guy who's hawking a Trump Bible. This is a guy who's out there selling perfume and with one of the great grifts, a coin.
But I want to get to the Trump is not hot. So
this is a guy who has merchant.
Gavin Newsom has always played the role of a walking magazine cover. Every hair in place, every smile practiced, every sleeve rolled just right. He's the political version of a luxury brand ad, selling charm as if it can cover up a state in decline. Those perfect teeth and polished gestures make him look built for the spotlight, not the hard work behind it. You can almost picture him in front of a mirror before every speech, adjusting that sincere shrug and rehearsing a smirk that silently says, "Future President."
He tried to be a moderate for about a month. I think it was April,
when he started his podcast.
Exactly. He started his podcast. He had Charlie Kirk on. He tried the moderate shtick. Realized that it didn't get him the donations that he wanted. And then he was like, wait a minute. Being an anti-Trump crusader actually gets me money. I want people to be aware that a lot of what politicians say on TV, on social media every day is to get the coffers, to get money rolling into the coffers, to get their fundraising machine.
If you're enjoying this takedown, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Now here's the thing about glossy covers. They look great until the shine wears off and you see the weak cardboard underneath. That's exactly when Lindy Lee charged in. Not with a light jab, but with a full-on flamethrower. And honestly, what could rattle a guy who's lived through wildfires, blackouts, and San Francisco's brunch culture all in one career? Turns out, it's getting exposed by someone who isn't impressed by his Hollywood governor act.
I do want to say that $1 billion in 100 days is not just run-of-the-mill. This is astounding. And I have a duty of care to my donors who gave millions of dollars, and it wasn't easy for them to give. Some of them were paying in installments. It was a sacrifice for them. They looked for ways to give. So, people gave their hearts and souls to the campaign. They deserve a serious accounting to see why we were told that she was close or even winning in some of the swing states, but we lost all 7.
What did they say? We heard on the podcast, but what did they say on this call? Did they accept any blame? Did they sort of talk about mistakes that were made?
No.
While Gavin was busy polishing his presidential act and practicing those dramatic hair flips, Lindy Lee showed up loaded with receipts so explosive they made California's blackouts look like soft mood lighting. But let's rewind for a moment. Newsom's entire climb has always been about image. He doesn't just walk into a room, he glides in like a luxury cologne commercial, the kind that makes people instinctively clutch their wallets. His whole brand runs on the illusion of a golden California paradise, with him cast as the sun-soaked savior keeping the dream alive.
But not only did Gavin Newsom lie, he was the biggest liar. He was the one, and I was there, he was the one in the spin room lying to the entire world on the night of the debate, saying it was just a cold, nothing to see here, move along. But he is such a congenital liar.
Reality doesn't exactly match Gavin's glossy brochure. Homelessness is skyrocketing like someone left a stove on high. Taxes are high enough to make Elon Musk weep into his stock portfolio. And businesses are fleeing the state faster than contestants from a failed reality show. Yet somehow, Gavin keeps spinning it as a win. It's almost impressive, like watching a magician pull scarves from a hat while ignoring an elephant trampling through the crowd. The applause rolled on until Lindy Lee stormed in and shouted, "That's not a rabbit, it's a rat in a tuxedo." Who is Lindy Lee? She's no random Twitter ranter. She's sharp, fearless, and ruthless enough to slice through Gavin's carefully polished facade like cheap birthday cake. When she speaks, people listen. And this time, she didn't just throw shade, she cut the power. Her takedown wasn't your usual mudslinging. It was surgical humiliation. She called out failures no amount of political gloss could hide. Take homelessness. Billions spent, yet tents keep multiplying like bad headlines. Lee hit the nail on the head. Throwing cash without accountability isn't leadership, it's chaos disguised as compassion. For a man who prides himself on fixing problems, hearing that he can't even manage sidewalks without tents popping up has to sting like salt rubbed straight into the wound.
Instead of focusing his time on this complete waste of taxpayer money, he has no agenda items. He has nothing positive to offer the American people. The only thing he cares about is himself. Everything is about him. And even Democrats understand this guy is truly fake. He's if you look up snake oil salesman in the dictionary, you would see his face right next to the definition.
I wasn't sure if it was going to be snake oil or hair grease or hair product, but you never know.
Actually,
probably both.
Then there's the great business exodus. California used to be the land of innovation, where tech geniuses designed apps to deliver latte art straight to your door. Now, CEOs are packing up their Teslas and heading to Texas faster than you can say no income tax. Lindy Lee made sure the whole country saw it, because if billion-dollar companies are fleeing to the land of barbecue and cowboy hats, maybe California's golden dream has turned into a rerun nightmare. But Lee didn't stop there. She went straight for Gavin's biggest weaknesses: hypocrisy and ego. She exposed how he's more focused on crafting his presidential highlight reel than fixing the mess he already governs. To him, California isn't a state, it's a rehearsal stage for his next act, where every crisis becomes another line in his monologue. Meanwhile, his audience, the citizens, are stuck wondering why their rent costs more than a luxury car lease. That's where the real humiliation landed. Gavin's whole persona is built on being the untouchable, cool kid of politics, the guy with perfect one-liners and smug charm. But Lee torched that illusion, turning him from a presidential hopeful into a governor barely keeping his own backyard under control. She stripped away the glamour and revealed not a visionary leader, but a man who looks like a landlord promising once again to fix the plumbing next week.
What drives you crazy? That people still speculate that you're waiting in the wings to run for president? I know it's not going to happen. You know it's not going to happen. But what do you think is fueling that speculation?
I don't know. I don't think much anymore, and I'm so proud of the president and the incredible job he did. Didn't surprise me at all, and I know it didn't surprise you. I really believe that. I said to my friend the other day, I said, you know, on this age, and we can get into debates around fitness, look, I'd rather have 80 years behind me than those 88 federal criminal counts in front of me. And so I feel very good about Joe Biden's progress.
The brilliance of Lindy's strike was in its precision. It wasn't a flashy TV showdown or a viral scream fest. It was quiet, sharp, and brutally real. That's what made it hit so hard. When someone casually says the emperor has no clothes, it's easy to brush off. But when someone points out that the palace itself is falling apart, rats, mold, a leaking roof, the illusion collapses completely. Reactions hit in waves. The media smelled blood, and even Gavin's diehard fans started raising eyebrows. Nothing shatters a carefully crafted image faster than cold, undeniable truth, and Lindy delivered it like a surgeon. She didn't just call out Gavin's failures, she made his entire brand look like a luxury resort hiding a bedbug infestation. The fallout was deliciously brutal. Californians, suffocating under rent hikes, sky-high power bills, and endless commutes, finally heard aloud what they'd been thinking for years. Maybe Gavin isn't the golden boy he pretends to be. Maybe he's just a poster-perfect figurehead running the state like a doomed movie set. And for a man rumored to be eyeing the White House, being revealed as a crumbling brand with a failing portfolio is pure nightmare fuel.
He mentions 4 machinations that he plans to use in order to circumvent Trump, or in his words, Trump-proof democracy. And I just want to say, before I go into the 4 different measures, he is basically saying the American people cannot be trusted to make the right decision. So I have to engage in these really slimy and subversive measures to undermine the will of the American people.
Here's the twist. People can forgive a lot in politics, scandals, bad policies, and even epic failures. But hypocrisy? That's unforgivable. And Lindy Lee hit Gavin's hypocrisy like it was opening night on Broadway. While he struts around as America's future savior, his own state is bleeding people, money, and patience by the minute. That contrast doesn't just bruise his ego, it shatters the fantasy he's been selling for years. Suddenly, Gavin isn't the dazzling frontrunner anymore. He's the guy frantically spinning in circles, trying to escape a mess of his own making. And once people see the cracks, they can't unsee them. No amount of hair gel or charm can cover them up. But here's where it really caught fire. Lindy's words spread like wildfire. Newsom is used to controlling the narrative, always managing to look polished even as everything collapses behind him. This time, though, the script slipped away. When Lindy struck the match, the smoke filled every room, and Gavin looked like an overpaid firefighter who forgot the hose. The humiliation deepened when the media, usually his biggest fans, turned on him. The reporters who once praised his brilliance finally stopped polishing his image and started digging for the dirt beneath the gloss.
If you're not going to be a good person, can you please not be a pathological liar at the very least?
He's unable to do that. They're conjoined.
I want to say, so he is out there doing a 180 on trans, but he's been on the forefront of trans advocacy all these years. Are you treating us like, why are you treating us like idiots? Or that we were born yesterday? We remember distinctly, he was one of the most ardent trans warriors. Not only that, he has a gumption to rewrite history and say that he knew all along that Biden's brain was melting.
Lindy Lee's bluntness couldn't be ignored. It hit like a hammer wrapped in truth. Her points weren't political theory. They were painfully obvious realities everyone could see. Homelessness isn't just a statistic. It's tents lining the sidewalks, needles in playgrounds, and tourists stumbling into scenes that feel more like a zombie apocalypse than the California dream. When Lee laid out the facts, the press had no choice but to pounce. Let's be honest, nothing excites the media more than blood in the water, especially when it's dripping from someone they once worshipped. Overnight, headlines stopped swooning over Gavin's perfect hair and silver tongue. Suddenly, every outlet was zooming in on the disaster hiding beneath his cologne-scented confidence. And for a man addicted to praise, that shift was catastrophic. The second blow came from Californians themselves. For years, Gavin brushed off every crisis. Wildfires were manageable, homelessness was in progress, and blackouts were somehow romantic. But people are done buying that nonsense. You can only sell sacrifice for so long before citizens realize they're the ones paying the bill while their governor rehearses his next big monologue for national TV.
Go through the force.
His first thing is a special election.
What does that mean?
A special session of the state legislature. He would just call them back and have them do a lightning round of Trump-proof measures that will circumvent his immigration enforcement and other. For example, the deployment of the National Guard. Basically, Trump-proof anything.
He lost that in court.
But he doesn't have that power.
He lost.
He is lying. He's just saying whatever. As I said before, he's just saying whatever he thinks his audience wants to hear.
Lindy Lee gave Californians the words they'd been waiting for. She didn't uncover any shocking secrets. She just shouted the truth louder than Gavin's PR machine ever could. Suddenly, coffee shops, dinner tables, and social media threads were buzzing with the same question. If this guy can't manage California, how could he possibly run the whole country? It's like watching a chef burn toast and then claim he's ready for a Michelin star kitchen. Then came the political insiders, the smiling allies who turn into vultures the moment they smell weakness. Gavin has been hyped for years as the next big thing, the Hollywood-polished future president. But Lindy's takedown shattered that illusion. When your state is bleeding residents and businesses, when your leadership sounds more like Instagram quotes than real solutions, and when someone like Lee calls you out with surgical precision, it's no longer charisma, it's exposure. The humiliation cut even deeper because of who delivered it. If it had been a rival, he could have shrugged it off as politics. If it had come from the press, he'd cry bias. But from Lindy Lee? It was like getting sucker punched by the least expected challenger. Sudden, devastating, and cheered on by the same crowd that once applauded him.
But Gavin Newsom was on the front lines of defending Biden. He wasn't just a defender and champion of Biden. He was the strongest. He debated DeSantis on the national stage. He went out of his way to, frankly, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. He lied to the American people about the fitness of the president. He went out there again and again and said he was fine. Meanwhile, people like me were punished.
Of course, Gavin tried his signature escape, spinning, smiling, and charming his way out of disaster. But here's the problem. When the receipts are real and the failure's obvious, charm quickly becomes desperation. He can boast about tackling homelessness, but people still see tents outside Whole Foods. He can brag about innovation, but everyone knows friends are packing U-Hauls for Nevada. He can dream about the White House, but most are left wondering if he's fit to run a neighborhood watch. That's why Lindy Lee's takedown landed so hard. It exposed the massive gap between Gavin's ambition and his actual performance. He wants to be president, yet he manages California like a sloppy group project. He wants to be seen as a progressive visionary, but his vision never seems to include affordable rent or functioning streets. He wants to shine as the Democratic golden boy, but lately, he's looking more like fool's gold, glittering until you touch it and realize it's worthless. And the worst part? This humiliation isn't going anywhere. Most scandals fade fast, but Lee's demolition struck at something deeper, the frustrations Californians live every single day. You can't spin that away with PR. They don't need a reminder, they're living it. The receipts are real, undeniable, and painfully permanent.
These aren't suggestions, and laws aren't optional. If you cannot handle your own state, the President of the United States has every right to come in. And right now, Gavin Newsom is treating public safety, he's treating our lives and our treasure as his plaything for his presidential campaign. His priority isn't the safety and the well-being of the American people. It's his own political preservation. He's positioning himself, trying to have it both ways, trying to pretend that he's all for illegal aliens, and then also that he's moderate. He cannot have it both ways.
So where does that leave Gavin now? Stuck in the most uncomfortable spotlight of his career. The man who once strutted around like the heir to the Democratic throne suddenly looks shaky, fragile, and uncertain. His rivals are circling, his allies are slowly backing away, and every TV appearance feels like an accidental replay of his own downfall. People aren't just noticing the hair and the grin anymore. They're hearing Lindy Lee's words echo in their minds, reminding them that behind all the polish stands a man presiding over a state in chaos. And Gavin knows it. That's the part that cuts the deepest. He can feel the image slipping, the illusion crumbling, and his confidence cracking. The humiliation isn't just public, it's personal. Because when your entire brand is built on being untouchable, nothing destroys you faster than someone proving you're not just touchable, but completely exposed.